Hey guys, special edition of the channel here on the Vinyl Rundown. I've got the amazing Zev Feldman here in Los Angeles, and we're going to talk about the great stuff he's doing this month, Record Store Day. Uh, I'll say more, but I just want to say hello, Zev, and thank you for being here on an early Saturday morning.
It's great to be here with you, Greg. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Zev, we interviewed you about 8 or 10 months ago before the other Record Store Day. And since then, your name is everywhere because you are releasing so much great stuff. You got so many accolades. You got was that your first Grammy nomination for the Nat King Cole? Congratulations. I think that's behind you. If that's this box above you, maybe the Nat King Cole massive 10-box set. And this Record Store Day coming up in July, we have 4 great releases from Zev. And the big one on Blue Note, which is the Lee Morgan. And we're going to talk about all these records.
I brought something.
There it is. Oh my God.
Now, get ready.
The first unveiling. Well, I don't know what order we should talk about these in. Maybe we should leave for last because that's the biggie. And let's talk about some of the other ones. I got a couple here. You want to talk about either of these in any order?
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about these. Where do you want to start? Shall we start with Roy Brooks?
Roy Brooks is the first one I heard. Not everybody knows Roy Brooks that well. He's a drummer, played with a lot of people. Tell us what we need to know about Roy Brooks, and then tell us about the record.
Well, Roy Brooks is really a master drummer. I mean, he really pushed the capabilities of the instrument, of total virtuosic talent, a master drummer. I think I first discovered him when he was playing with Horace Silver, those recordings. I mean, I wasn't alive when they came out, but that was some of the first Roy Brooks that I ever heard. And then there was this album on Muse Records called The Free Slave with George Coleman and Woody Shaw. And it was a record that, like, for a lot of me and my record buddy friends and all of your viewers out there, it was a record that touched a lot of us. And several years ago, I started working with the folks from the Left Bank Jazz Society in Baltimore, most notably my really good friend, John Fowler, who was one of the co-founders of the organization. He's been like the custodian of the tapes for a long time. And he brought me in to take a look at some of the recordings that they had and see if we could find some homes for these releases. And it's been an amazing journey over the last 4 or so years, literally taking suitcasefuls of tape reels back and forth between Baltimore and Los Angeles. George Claben, my co-president at Resonance, was really generous in allowing us to digitize a lot of these tapes and helping to get them preserved. And we've been finding homes for them, listening to the music, evaluating what was really great, needed to come out. And these recordings from Roy Brooks, with this album that is called Understanding. I'll actually take this out of the sleeve here. This is really an amazing. I was really touched by this music and connected with it on the first listen. It's really some of the most burning music out there. There's not. It's just a remarkable release here. Some of the greatest Woody Shaw besides Roy. Woody Shaw, Carlos Garnett, Harold Mabern on piano, CECIL MCBEE, a lot of old friends together, if you will. And it's really a testament of the music that they recorded, that, Roy Brooks, you hear all these incredible different sides of him. I mean, but they are pushing as a working unit. It is on all cylinders, and it's a great release. And we really wanted to try to build a great package. This is from, by the way, I want to say my dear friend, Corey Weeds at Reel to Reel in Vancouver, which is part of Cellar Live. And that's a record label that just, congratulations to Corey, celebrated his 20th anniversary in business.
Wow.
And a few years ago, we started Reel to Reel as he got bit by the archival bug. Zev, there's got to be some tapes that you're not putting out on Resonance. And it's absolutely the case, different strokes, different folks, different types of music line up for different folks. And Corey and I were both really taken by this music of Roy Brooks and wanted to build a great release. It's a 3 LP set. It's a lot of music.
3 LPs. It's massive, and it's long tracks, pretty much one track per side, more or less. And are some of these Roy Brooks originals? I see, I see some different tunes on here that some I know, some I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
some of these are Roy Brooks originals, Billy Bounce, Charlie Parker tune, Woody Shaw tune.
yep. Taurus Woman from Carlos Garnett. It's a great document, and it's also a charity album. I want to say that Raymond Torchinsky, who is the executive producer on this release, uh, allowed us to do this as a full-on benefit album for the Detroit Sound Conservancy, which is an organization that Roy Brooks was passionate about. And it's a nonprofit foundation based in Detroit. And it's not just proceeds, it's every sale from dime one goes to this organization. It was a donated effort by Raymond, and all the money that comes in, it's generated. Well, there's distribution fees and technicalities along the way, but this is a charity album, and it's really a wonderful music that celebrates Roy's legacy. Mark Stryker, you guys probably know him from Jazz in Detroit, the author of the book. He wrote the main liner notes. I felt it was really important for us to have a voice from Detroit talking about this man. I'm really proud about this release. I mean,
Hold it out here.
yeah, sure. We should take a look at some of
Great
these.
photography. I love the cover shot.
This really just kind of comes along the line of, I like to use this word, elevating the art of record making. But when we do these sort of projects, it's really about having great music presented, but really trying to encapsulate an incredible experience all the way around. Readings, photographs, something to keep you busy while you're listening to the music, and something really to bring you back to keep listening and keep celebrating the release.
That's
And
one thing that you do in all your releases. Extensive liner notes and great people talking about their memories and influences and how this record came together. So that's you. That's unique to you, but all your releases, the liner notes are massive. All these interviews.
I think it's important. I think this is investigative music journalism, so to speak. I think that there's a story to tell. Obviously, we feel so passionate about these artists. I want to just tell the story. I want people to understand why it's important. And this record's so great because they're just these familiar artists to so many of us too. Like I was talking about before, I can't understate this enough. The music being played by Woody Shaw alone is worth the price of admission here. This is just an amazing document from an incredible time in the music from the early 70s. There was a lot of things that were going on, and I just feel very, I like Roy Brooks a lot. And these recordings were basically made 6 months later after the Free Slave was released on Muse. And yeah, I'm really proud of this. I want to thank Corey and I want to thank Raymond for making it possible. And this will be on the Reel to Reel label July 17th for Record Store Day. 3 LPs. And by the way, it was mastered for LP by everybody's good friend, Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. I was actually pressed by the really nice folks up at Standard Vinyl in Toronto. And I'm just very happy with the way it turned out. I hope everyone else will be too. I mean, I think it really leaps out at you the moment that you even see it in the store. Yeah. But I wanted to hit people over the head with this. I think this is really important music.
I enjoyed listening to it. I've listened to it a couple times. And this is like a transitionary period in jazz. Bitches Brew had just come out, and where was jazz going in the 70s? And there's a little bit of old and new influences in this one. So great. 3 disc sets. So maybe you want to move on to another one of these releases real quick.
Sure.
Which one do we go with?
Should we continue with Harold Land talking about Reel to Reel?
Yeah, Harold Land, which came out already on Record Store Day. So yes. I haven't seen that one.
Release right here, that came for the first drop. This also is a Reel to Reel production. I thought that I would mention it at the same time. These come from 3 different radio broadcasts that were done with Harold Land at the Penthouse Club in Seattle. And, just to recap, December of 62, September of 64, and August of 65. I'm really happy. We've been working with Jim Wilkie and Charlie Puzo Jr. Charlie Puzo Jr. is the son of Charlie Puzo Sr., obviously, who was the owner of the Penthouse Club. And Jim was the radio show host that broadcast these recordings originally when they aired. And they both have the tape archives. And we've been working extensively for the greater part of over a decade now, bringing these recordings to light. You may remember there are also Penthouse recordings on the Resonance label from artists such as Wes Montgomery. And we've had a few other releases too, including Cannonball Adderley with Reel to Reel as well. But I'm really happy about this. Harold Land is really one of the titans of the tenor saxophone. He doesn't get talked about as enough. A lot of the Blue Note heads obviously out there are familiar with his collaborations with the great Bobby Hutcherson, but he was really, this was an important guy, and he left his mark in jazz. And it was just a great opportunity, I think, to celebrate him. And this music was sitting there. But man, listen to these sidemen. I mean, Carmel Jones, Monk Montgomery, Hampton Hawes, Buddy Montgomery. I mean, no slouches. It's really wonderful music. And I'm glad that this music is coming out officially for all to hear, because Harold Land should be celebrated. He was one of the greats.
I think that one sold out pretty quickly on Record Store Day. And wasn't there some great artwork and packaging with that one that's a little unique?
John Sellards is our designer on these, and he's done a wonderful job. He also works with me at Resonance Records, and he works with a lot of other record labels, including like Real Gone and a host of Sony Music Group and a host of others. So anyways, I was really happy to have this one come together. The suitcase, by the way, on the cover is actually a vintage suitcase that John had up in his attic at his home. So he originally had purchased it for another shoot. And I was like, we were kind of going with this whole traveling west sort of motif. And he said, I have this suitcase. And I just kind of conceptualized it. I want to get lost in the art here. I mean, the music is great, but being creative is really one of the driving elements and forces behind all of this. The passion for the music, but wanting to build something. I mean, I never take it for granted that so many of the consumers out there, this is not, this can add up, these records, and I just know that anytime anyone wants to spend money on picking a production with my name on it, I really just want our team to be able to do the best that it can, to know that there's quality, that it stands for excellence. And we do the best job that we can. And the sound quality is really great. I mean, you had these tapes that were mono recordings from these broadcasts. Yeah, I'm just really happy with the way everything turned out there. So that's Harold Land, Westward Bound. Very proud
Great.
of.
I haven't heard that one yet, but even though it may have sold out on Record Store Day, it's probably still available on CD, and it's probably, I don't know if you guys print more after the fact. I have no idea. Kind of depends on whether there's a demand. I don't know.
There's CDs available.
Hard to get. CDs. You can get a CD, and you can probably listen to it online also.
You can.
You can do some streaming, but you won't have the full package. You won't have the beautiful artwork.
The CD will encapsulate the same.
You love the artwork.
You will. On the CD version contains all the same elements of the LP edition.
I can't see it at my age. It's too small, but that's okay.
Would be true.
I'll try. But most of the folks watching on this channel are probably vinyl freaks, but we have CDs. You can't have everything on vinyl. Great. So should we go to Charles or Bill? Does one lead into the next one?
Sure, you can talk about. Let's talk about Bill Evans behind.
Yeah, you and I.